We're recording now.
Okay, great. And for those of you who I haven't met, I'm actually not sure if I've met all of you in person. Nice to meet you. My name's Mark, and I'm going to be showing you notes.
And Mark is in the office today, so if you're also in the office, come and say hi. He's a tall guy wearing a blue shirt.
Giving a great demonstration about how awesome New Student Notes is. So, a few know, but I'll just include them in case you want a reminder. So Student Notes is available for school and district users. And students can take notes in both live and student paced sessions. That has not changed. I'm going to launch a live lesson right now and show you, or tell you the pin. It is M as in Mark, Z as in zebra, X as in X-ray, F as in friend, A as in anarchy, and with that, you should be able to join. I'm going to do that really quickly so that I can follow along as a student. Well, MZXFA. When you arrive here, you'll notice a few things that are different than the student experience if notes were not enabled. There's a bottom bar down at the bottom that says Open Notes Navigator. And on the right-hand side, there's a drawer with a little icon that looks like you're taking notes. If you click either one of these, I'll click the bottom navigator, you open up the notes interface. This is a big change. Well, there's two big changes here. One, the overall appearance. Notes used to be taken in the bottom scrubber, and now they're going to be taken on the right. But the real change, and I think this is something that is addressing a lot of teachers' concerns, was now you save notes up front. You save notes at the beginning of the session. Why do we do that? We chose to do that in case the students are interrupted or they forget to save at the end of the session. So you've sent yourself an email. That email includes a link to your notes document, and that link is constantly updating throughout the session as you take notes. There's three ways to output notes. You can send them via email, you can send them to OneDrive, or Google Drive. You don't see Google Drive on the right-hand side. The reason for that is that hiccup I was describing to you guys. When we released this feature, for an unknown reason, Google started to say that Nearpod was an unsafe website. So the API would pop a message with a big red symbol that said, "This website's dangerous. Are you sure you want to continue? You're in grave danger." And you could say yes and then save your notes. That was an unfriendly message, so we hid the Google Drive button for now. That will be fixed early next week, so you can expect that if you're talking to customers on Wednesday, that Google Drive will be visible and enabled. All right, any questions so far?
That the notes are all right.
Are you guys there?
Is everybody muted?
Is everyone muted, or?
We can hear you.
All right, so I'm going to assume you guys are all good, and we'll continue moving forward. I'm going to navigate my teacher slide, and if you have notes open, you will notice that on the student side, your notes have changed a bit. The big image, yep.
No, still on the last one.
So the changes you'll see on this screen are, in the top right, the thumbnail is of slide 2. The big image is slide 3. That's the Earth that's being sliced open. But in the top right, Studying the Stars, is the slide you're taking notes on. Now, why did we do this? If the teacher moves from slide 2 to 3, why don't we just move the students' notes from slide 2 to 3? The thought is we wanted to make sure they had time to finish their notes on the previous slide. So if you're looking at my screen, this is my note. Once I'm done, I'm going to want to get caught up with my class. I'll do so by clicking the Take Notes on Current Slide button. When I hover on that, you'll see, as a little bit of reinforcement, we actually have a preview of what that slide looks like. And when you click it, it takes you right there. You'll see now that the 3 is on a tile that's orange instead of blue. That orange is indicating that you're up to date. That's continuing current design that we have. An interesting new feature that we have, and I think it was actually discussed slightly on Slack yesterday, is that all of the slides in a presentation aren't necessarily included. You'll notice that this slide presentation has 26 slides if you're looking at my screen, 3 of 26. So we've shown 1, 2, and 3, and now we're going to skip 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and go to slide 12. You can take notes on slide 12. You will notice that in the bottom scrubber, the only slides that appear are slides 1, 2, 3, 12. We're only going to export those slides. So if the student closed their computer and went home, they would open up a notes document that would include slides 1, 2, 3, and 12. It would not include any of the other slides that were in the presentation. This seems counterintuitive at first, but let me explain to you briefly why we chose to do this. If a teacher is trying to teach a session over multiple days, and the note output includes every slide included in the presentation, including ones that hadn't been taught yet, the student who's reviewing their notes before the second class would know all of the information for both sessions. So if there was any surprises, secrets, discussions of quiz questions, for example, for upcoming quizzes, the students previously would have had access to those. This was a huge problem and one of the major things we tried to solve with this new change. So when you guys are talking to schools and districts, it might be worth mentioning this change because this was a liability in the past and we've erased that liability now. So the idea is that you'll be able to go and take notes and not be worried that something will go wrong. We've tried to eliminate that as much as possible. One last detail on this experience, or on the screen rather, is if you look at the toolbar, the bottom toolbar, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the destination for your notes. This is useful for email especially in case you think you miskeyed your notes. So if I wrote marm@nearpod.com, I'd be able to see that. If I clicked this pencil, it would return me to the notes-taking screen, and I could say send notes by email and type in the email address correctly. All of the previous notes, they're preserved so you don't lose any of your work. I think that that is a useful tool in order to make sure for that. It also offers a slight hack. If any of your teachers or school districts say, is there any way for the students to receive a copy and the teachers to receive a copy? The student could actually edit the email and then put the teacher's email in there as well, and there would have been 2 emails sent, so both sides would receive notes. A little bit of a hack there, but in our first demo, that was a question that was asked, so I thought I'd bring it up. That is the end of our discussion of student PACE notes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, or sorry, live lesson notes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm going to briefly show you guys what the experience is like if Google Drive, not in the production, but I can show it to you now so that you can get a sense of that. If you have no questions, if I can just get a verbal okay to show that some of you are still there.
Still here.
I guess I have a question.
Still here.
You might have addressed this in the beginning, but so if I have notes on this specific slide, it's still going to email me all of the slides, or just the specific one?
So this, that's a great question. Okay. So the question was, what will students' notes output include? It will include any slide that the teacher navigated to, regardless of what slides the student took notes on. Why would we include slides that the student didn't take notes on? Because the notes are valuable even if the student doesn't add information to them. Why are they valuable? Because those notes include links to the multimedia assets in the presentation. Some of you might not be familiar with the new notes output because it wasn't a huge deal at the time, but it's going to be a big deal soon. The new notes output includes links to and websites and the PDF documents that were included in the presentation, It includes student responses to drafts, things like that. So it's almost a student report. I could see this being valuable to teachers who don't even ask their kids to really take notes, but they just want their students to have a printout of the presentation after the session happens. So there's a secondary value there. And again, just to reiterate, only the slides the teacher navigates to will be included. And during a self-paced session, it would be the slides that the student navigated to would be included, just to keep it tight. All right, we're getting close to the end. I appreciate you guys working on with me since I am sitting here with some other people. I'm going to turn the screen. Student paced is less complicated, to be honest, than a live lesson experience because you're always taking notes on the current slide. The reason for this is if the teacher is moving forward, you don't know if you're done with your notes, but if a student is moving themselves forward, chances are they're done, right? Like it would be weird for a student to interrupt themselves by moving forward. It would indicate some other things. Okay, so let's look at the Save to Google Drive because this is going to be a major driver for us. A lot of schools use a Google Classroom. Click here. If the pop-up's blocked, like it will be for most users, you click this secondary one that allows us to bypass this. I'm going to sign in with my email account. It's going to ask me for a little bit of detail about permissions, and I'll allow. Now at this moment, we have a pop-up. And this pop-up is actually something that's pretty great in terms of addressing a problem that we used to have. In the past, if you were trying to save notes, you were required to have a folder to Google Drive in general. You had to save it to the 7th grade science folder or Mrs. Simerson's English class folder. That's not the case anymore. This pop-up is asking you that question essentially. Do you want to select a folder? Yes, and it will pop up a window where you can folder to save. I'll pick 5th slide W. I can select, and now my notes are being saved to that folder. It would have been saved to Google Drive generally. So now people without folders can save if they don't have a folder yet. Other than that, the experience is very similar, with that one exception of the notes update the slide as the slide is updated. So the notes are always corresponding to the slide you can see. They're never behind. That is the only difference. In terms of functionality and behavior, that sort of ends the demonstration. Before I open it up to questions, I just want to mention a couple small details that I had initially omitted. And that is Student Notes has been released for the web browser version of Nearpod. Now that means if you're on a computer, an iPad, or iPhone, using the web browser, so Safari or Chrome, you can access notes like this. If you're using the iOS app, currently this notes feature is not enabled there. However, it's been developed, and with the next release of notes, we will include it. So it's soon to come, not quite here yet. It will have the exact same experience on the iOS app. There will be no difference. It will just be obviously in the app and not on the website. So I'll open the floor to questions or comments, or if you, I would love to hear your thoughts if you have any of them.
I think this is amazing. It looks really good. And I think it's going to be really great for our students to be able to auto-save and the teachers not have to like end the session or make sure that the students save it before they end the session. I think that there's a lot of confusion with that. So I think it's going to be really good.
Well, I hope so. And that's the thought process. The hope is that the design changes will be valuable and evident. The two major changes that you'll probably want to emphasize to your school and districts, especially those who have used notes in the past, are the two changes that we just mentioned, the saving up front, and then also the fact that you're not giving away any of the secrets of the lesson. And it seems like we're doing pretty well. If there aren't any questions, thanks guys, I appreciate it. That will be the end of the presentation. I appreciate you guys stopping in.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
This really does look good, Mark.
I'm
thank you.
really, really
Functionality.
excited about this, which is why I've been so annoying with, when is this gonna happen? When is this gonna happen? Is this live?